Spacestation Gaming, the boys from Brazil. It's got to feel good to get that first big win for Brazil in the earlier part of the day. But going up now against G2, who looked a little dysfunctional yesterday, are you still riding a little bit of that relief and elation from earlier today, or is it back to business?
I think we are prepared to fight against them. We don't know what exactly we should expect because they are really versatile. Every time they pick something different and do a new strategy, but we are studying them for a while, and I think the policies for yesterday could give us an idea what we should do against them. So it's worth it to watch that.
Now, I must say, looking stylish. They can't see on the camera your kicks, but I'm liking them. And I know you want to kick some booty against G2 in this next match. And they've actually mentioned in past interviews that they have some secret strategies that they've been sitting on, different champions they haven't pulled out yet. Have you all been preparing kind of those just pocket picks in preparation of this match?
Yeah, I think we just need to be ready for anything they bring, because it's G2, they can play anything. So we come here and we respect them a lot. We like them a lot. And let's see what happens.
There's a lot of teams and a lot of players here who have seen you guys now kind of in the arena, played up against you a couple in scrims, and a lot of people afterwards have been saying that potentially that you guys might be the greatest minds in Paladins right now when it comes to play style and adapting. Tell me a little bit more about coming from Brazil, a little bit smaller of a scene competitively, and what it takes to be at the highest level from an independent region like Brazil.
We practice all the time. We had some issues about time of practicing because one of our team is in high school in the last year, so we need to adjust our time to do it. And the Brazilian scene is not strong enough. I mean, don't have a lot of teams that I can practice that we can practice against with. It's just a few, like 3 on tops, cutting with us and Brujito. What we need, what we are doing for a while, is trying to search for screens against North American teams that show us a new point of view about the game. So every time that the meta changes, we try to look to screens against them and to see what they are doing that we don't see. So we try to run against, not run, but I need to rephrase that. We need to search for more, como que eu falo? I forgot the word. Resources to study the game and be who's on the top.
Touching a bit more on that international representation, I know a while back when talking to some of the Burrito boys, for a bit, some of them had other jobs and everything too, so they wanted to make that switch so they could practice just as hard as the NA and EU regions. And you just mentioned that there's some that just came out of high school and everything. So are you facing some of those same issues where you can't go as hard as the other regions, or are you practicing just as much?
Sure. Actually, there's still a player of ours on high school, and he's in the last year. I mean, it's kind of hard because we wanted to have more time to train more because we are learning every single day. We're getting better every day. And these lands, we're just showing here and screaming everybody we can so we can learn still more and practice and improving. And if you had more time, yeah, it would be better. But now we don't. One day we will have, so.
I think it's all about experience.
Yeah.
It's not just being in the lands all the time like Burritos has. They are amazing, but they got on the top 4, the Hi-Rez, because they came all the time and represent Latam all the time. But for us, that was our first time, the beginning of this year. The experience, it's getting more like playing against who you never played with. So we could take a part of their style to improve ours. It's something like that.
And last thing for me, the Spacestation name is probably one of the biggest growing in the esports scene. What did it mean to you guys to have that conversation with such a notable organization, to come to Brazil, find you guys and say, we want to represent you? What does that mean to you as players?
Actually, it's kind of fun story because our last organization left us 1 month before the Hi-Rez and nobody had visa. And Spacestation then just came, hello boys, let's do this. Like they did everything. We're here because of them, and they're amazing and they're growing so fast. I think in this year it's the best year of Space Station where we want to represent them good because they're amazing. Everybody, Honduras, Unity, and they're giving us support every day, and let's do this for them.
And whenever I've seen or spoken to any of you, you're very respectable and kind and very humble but hungry. And they were just talking on the desk about how Fnatic has their own mode of trash talk and NA and EU have their approach. And yes, we have the soundproof booths, but has that affected you all in this LAN environment coming into those big personalities?
I don't think so. I mean, in the first LAN in HRX, maybe, because we didn't have experience. Like, we was walking on the corner and say, like, oh, that's Mutu, oh, that's Bugsy, and everything, like, you know. But after playing against them, like, guys, we're good enough, you know, you can do this, so let's do this now.
Just calm down and think that it's like we were talking about yesterday. When we played against Burrito, we know each other, so nobody's got nervous. It's just to put this in your mind and play against them, that everything's gonna be fine.
It's been a lot of fun watching you so far, and we look forward to watching you even more. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Gotta tell you, man, I really like those guys. I enjoy them. I think that was a great interview. They had a lot of cool stuff to talk about, how Space Station sort of bailed them out of a rough spot, got them all the visas, and they had a pretty good HRX, I will say.
And I think that's really like where things went. They mentioned the fact that Burrito at this point, they've had multiple lands where they've come to, some that were very not successful and then one that was wildly successful for them, and them saying, well, we're trying to get the same thing, that same experience, to the point where now this is the land they want to do what Burrito did during HRX. They want to have the same kind of run where it's just, we want to make it to the semis, we want to get to the finals, we want to prove that you can't just count us out because we're international.
And I've been hearing a lot of talk about this man, FRZ God, Freeze God, whatever you want to call him. But he's a young gun for them. Like they were saying, he's in their last year of high school. He lives in a pretty strict household, only a couple hours of video games to play, practice a day. And a lot of those guys from Burrito are saying if he could just commit full time and go full on with his Paladins esports career, he'd be the best Blaster player in the world if he's not already.
And I mean, earlier today, his Bomb King was one of the things that just swung through that Frog Isle map. So I'm kind of curious if maybe like people are taking note, G2 specifically, saying maybe we should keep our eyes on that guy.
Right, and I'm curious, right, because Envy made much quicker work of Burrito than I thought they would, and now Space Station have to go up against another North American giant, G2. We sat down with them a little bit earlier, and let's hear what they had to say.
Welcome back. It's day one of Masters, and G2 is about to make their performance against Space Station Gaming. So first off, did you catch their set earlier with the victory?
I was catching some Zs, I'll be honest with you. We didn't actually get to see the set, but I think we prepared well for them last night because we were expecting them to beat Gangstars, and we were already prepared for Gangstars just being in the NA region. So we're pretty prepared for Space Station.
So prepared for your opponents, but how are you guys prepared with each other on G2? Of the last couple of games, you just kind of saw everything crumbling right in front of us. I'm sure you guys had a chance to kind of have a powwow, get back together, but what was the kind of recompression from the end of the finals from last night into the game this morning?
Well, I tweeted out last night. I said, yeah, we got 4-0'd, but it didn't feel like it to me that we got 4-0'd. Even the games that we got 4-0'd, not just the set that we got. That's a lot of 4-0s, my goodness. No, I really feel like we played better than it looked. I think there are some small things that could have bounced our way. Plus, Fnatic was playing really, really well. I was very ecstatic about how we played against Envy. I feel like the reason we sort of dropped Fnatic, not only that they were playing very well, I think we over-prepared for Envy, and our mindset going into the finals might not have been where it needed to be. So.
And that's the thing also about the game with Paladins, even if it's a 4-0, there's so many intricacies that happen in the game where it can tell a totally different story. But going from best of 7s yesterday, now we're in best of 3 territory. Do you feel that plays a bit to your momentum strengths?
We're pretty much ready to adapt to any situation. I mean, obviously, a best of 7, we're going to be like, hey, we got a few rounds, a few games, let's test some things. I think we obviously want to kick it in gear in a best of 3 faster. But, yeah, I mean, for sure. It's just time to kick it in gear, you know what I mean? Do our thing.
There were some moments near the end, specifically on Stone Keep, where it looked like you guys just said, Evil Eye, push forward, do your thing, and he came up big early on with 4 huge kills on Stonekeep. Before that, it was dose-ups on Cassie. Is that something in particular that kind of shows you know what, maybe we're overthinking, let's just go out and hold W and see what happens? Or is this more of a calm, collected, all right, we need to actually rein things back in and make sure we're collected as a full team mindset?
I think there are times where, because we're such a momentous team, we get ahead of ourselves, and maybe we're winning the fight, and then we get picked or something here and there. We talked about that last night. I'm not putting the reins on any of my guys at all. I'm not going to tell them to stop if they're feeling comfortable and confident in what they're doing. I personally need to do a better job of keeping them healed and keeping them informed. So we're not making any specific adjustments with that, and I'm very happy seeing Evoli hold W, because usually it goes well when he is.
You just mentioned moments ago that you felt you prepared a bit more for Envy, and then Fnatic caught you off guard. And then also in a past interview that you have these pocket picks, these different strategies that you haven't quite brought out yet. With a team like SSG that's from the international scene, are you going to be pulling out all stops against them, or are you taking that approach of we're actually still reserving a lot of our tank for those EU and NA teams?
I mean, we're going to play to win regardless. If we have to pull out some stops, we'll pull out some stops. I mean, it's just how you approach it, really, right? So.
There's nothing we have hidden. We just played at Vegas. We've already played the PPL finals. People know how we want to draft, what's good for us, what's not good for us. So there's nothing hidden at all. Everybody knows what's going on. So it's just purely skill and who shows up now.
You should talk more.
Last thing, Kyle with the shots. Last thing before you guys head off for your game. And again, there is a big community behind the Brazilian team. And of course, you guys have a big following in North America. Any last final words on camera, maybe not so much on Twitter, for all your fans out there rooting for you guys today?
Thank you guys so much for the support. I know I'm the most toxic player around, but I really appreciate you guys showing up and having my back all the time. Thank you so much.
You guys made us, so let's go.
There you go. Good luck in the games, guys. We'll see you out there.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Always love getting a chance to sit down with the stash and the big boys of NA, or at least they have been so far this event, losing to Envy in Vegas, bouncing back against them in the spring finals, eventually to fall against Fnatic. But I want to talk about how Cuss was saying, we don't have any more secrets necessarily. But to me, that's sort of how they've always been, Gore. They play so many different things. So many guys play so many different roles on this team. I feel like that is the secret, is that you don't know what's coming until you get in the game.
I mean, just like the stash, it's all out there. Everything that they like to do, they know. It's visible. You've seen it. They love running Pip. They like running Grover. The things that were maybe catching people off guard during the PPL don't catch people off guard anymore. But they still make it work. And that's really, I think, what makes the big difference is the fact that they have figured out something that works for their team, works for their style, and whether or not you know how to play against it, they can still adapt.
I'm really, really excited for this set. Pretty much as excited as I was for the Burrito Envy set, because I just don't know which way it's going to go. I think earlier in the day, I thought I see this being an incredible set, or I see this being kind of a burrito sweep. I didn't see Envy coming out as strong as they did, but they did. They put their foot down and absolutely dominated Burrito in more ways than one, in very interesting ways. Now, G2, I know that they're a team of the same caliber that could do the same thing, but Spacestation Gaming is looking scarier than they ever have. What are your initial feelings on who you want to lean this set towards?
I mean, I feel like going to Frog Isle, there's a lot of draft dependencies, but this is where SSG looked really, really dominant earlier. And again, kind of coming into it, G2, still very emotional, I think. So depending on how this first round really starts off, that would set the tone for it. If they get down immediately, that means SSG are just going to start pushing as hard as they can.
I was literally about to say that same thing, man. We're about ready to get in draft for game number 1 between G2 Esports and Spacestation Gaming. A lot to be decided here. Spacestation never looking stronger than they have currently. G2 Esports coming off an 0-4 against Fnatic, but one that they're admittedly feeling pretty good about. We're seeing double sniper bans come out early for G2, and on Frog Isle, that's not exactly surprising.
Especially with the way Metal played earlier. I mean, just showcasing that the Strix side, that was their first pick when it came down to it. So now maybe saying, well, we know what they are capable of. We know what they kind of want to lean towards. Let's take something away. You're forced to, on the other side, then think, well, Ruckus is a really strong frontline. Let's get rid of him. Maeve has been dominating in most of her games, if not all of her games these last couple days. But you leave the Makoa open.
But in our Cassie, what a way to respond here. Now, G2 have a lot I think invested in the support pick, which is mostly comes through in the second pick phase here. The third pick is usually where you'll see it. They're going to go with Fernando first. Maldamba or Genos? That's the question here. And I got to say, I'm on board for that Maldamba there. I think you get it away from the Inara. You've already drafted 2 frontliners of your own. It's a good way to go.
It's going to be comfortable. And the question, I think, will stand well. It's going to be answered immediately. Saris is going to be the thing they opt for. We've seen some teams usually, typically opt for a Genos there. Just let's get the Luminary, let's get the bonus damage, let's kill them faster than they can heal up. But instead, they're going to still focus on the healing, which is something that I feel like happens more in international play than we see typically out of North America and Europe. And then the Drogos kind of back it up. They have a lot of damage for Space Station here.
The Saris is very unconventional, though, and I think their unwillingness to go for like a Genos when they have it available might be something that Space Station may want to look at going forward in this event. Saris not bad, but not really bringing anything more. Like Genos, he's going to bring that 3 DPS. Maldamba is the best frontline healer in the game. Saris just kind of is fine at doing her job.
Honestly, when it comes down to it,
she's kind of safer, I would say.
She just gives tons of healing without dying a lot. Normally she can get out of anything. And then if you get a good convergence, that could make or break a team fight immediately. But it's all really kind of contingent on the other team not positioning well enough against a convergence.
Yeah, and I mean, they've got Shell Shield, they've got Fernando's Shield, they've got Slither from Maldamba. Realistically, I don't see a big convergence landing. When Spunky did it, he was focused on healing a lot, as well as he ran 100% bonus move speed in his Shadow Travel to just not die. Yeah. And we saw how important that was during the Burrito set. And the big question here, Gores, who has the better mustache? Cuss? Or our boy here?
I think I'm going to have to give it a Cuss. I think it's just a little bit...
It's very full, man. Cuss.
I have forgotten what he looks like with the full beard. Like, it literally has wiped his entire visage from before out of my mind. Gives him that dad feel.
I love it, dude. I love Grandpa Cuss.
He actually said player in Paladins. At one point that he wanted to do it for the pictures only. And then he just was like, yeah. And then he just kept it.
He just kept it. Here's the draft for Game 1, guys. I'm super excited to get into this one. Casters, take us home.
Welcome back to the casting booth. Now, I have to say, I messed up earlier. I missed the opportunity to let you all know this is Alan squared.
Yeah, we forgot about that.
Totally missed the opportunity. You know, last name, first name, Allen, all the way. But we're going off to Frog Owl first.
Heck yes. And the Custache, will it be flexing? Well, that's the real question as we come in.
That was a question.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is glorious. It's got every base covered, and this is really interesting. Dosup's on the Fernando. He's going to be looking to play this very aggressively and starts off by trying to keep everyone away from that right-hand side. And now on to point the Inara. That's going to be the big thing is can they get the Inara off this point, and who's going to be the one to do it? Because Bodies needs to keep this right-hand control here with the Fernando, but man, that's a tough wall to get through.
Already forced to reposition, and some nice shots going right into the face of Ares, but puts up that shield. And that's 54% for Space Station Gaming, though, the entirety of the time. And Mitao gets the first kill on towards you.
That's a big kill, too. I mean, having the Makoa down opens up a lot of opportunity. Middle with another one on the body. So now the Evil Eye is going to have to find a way to stay safe while still finding some damage, if at all possible. Rachal's going to push right on forward, though. This is going to be literally a stone wall set up to keep this zone alive.
Wowee, that's a quick capture from Space Station Gaming. They want to make their international name known against this G2 roster. And we're talking before about how it's all about which G2 is going to show up. Are they coming out of the gates running? Or are they going to need a little bit of a wind-up?
Well, we heard him talking about how they don't want to put a leash on anybody in their roster, but who's going to be the one person to step up and light that fire? Because someone's going to have to. Now Freeze God coming through. Wow, what a peel there from Middle from downtown. Able to take down Bodies mid-leap. That damage that he would have come down with at the landing may have been enough, but now Drogo's still alive. Middle rolling in. This is dangerous for G2.
Even Dosub's forced to back away close to the spawn doors because he's been chunked down low. A nice Dread Serpent actually to separate Space Station Gaming from their actual objective. Throwing down that spit downtown. Gets some damage, but nonetheless, Evil Eye with so many kills under his belt.
And gets himself the 3 withdrawing in, and then heating the heat haze as well, just trying to keep that invisibility and all of that advantage in his ballpark. Now looking at the Inara, who's actually trying to trade away a kill. Will be able to get some support there from Mido, so it is worth it. Although there is a staggered death, at least it's on both sides.
About 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. Ares closing the gap a little bit. Wardroom is on the Makoa, and you always have to look at the Makoa player whenever it does make its way through. Because it's such a powerful pick that if you're not playing it to the utmost potential, then there's going to be some questioning from the audience.
Here's the thing that I like too about Aries. Besides, oh, look at this. He's able to find Buck first and foremost just to hold him. A little get over here coming out, and now jumping right back in. This is the play style that I really like from Aries, is that he's coming right in toward him and saying, you're going to have to hook me. I'm going to heal it back up and then burst right out. That's a really good use of making sure that that dredge anchor does not pull anybody too severely.
And now Spacestation Gaming capitalizing upon all of those wipes that they just received. 43% on the clock. And actually, FRZ God, they talked a bit earlier about this Drogoz play, about the blaster play and potential from him. And I love the way he's keeping this distance right now, but still having that same damage potential.
Yeah, oh, wow. Able to turn right into eyedrop bodies, saying, this is my house, get out of here. And now looking forward as Middle finds Evil Eye. So this is an opportunity to go 2-0, still 20 seconds left. And FRZ God is finding all this damage coming out from salvos, Spitfires, and direct rockets alike. Holy smokes, 2-0 for Space Station to start it off.
You want to make a name for yourself, that's one way to do it, especially after watching those interviews. Jeez, Evil Eye did have some good moments. You got to give it to him. He's always going to have that strength and consistency over the past couple lands, but nonetheless, for objective control, it was all the way of SSG.
Goodness gracious. I mean, again, we've seen Drogoz come into a lot of teams' comps, but the way that FRZ guy was just playing Drogoz was absolutely perfect. He uses his entire kit to make sure that there is space, not only between him and his opponents, but he's trying to throw that damage right into that front line. So that way, Rachao and Aries have a chance to actually fight up against Wardum and Dosubs. That's a really tough matchup to go into. A Makoa Fernando, so formidable to match up one-on-one with.
0-4, 0-4. I feel like, so they did let eyedrop bodies off the leash, but then they should have actually brought him back a little bit. He got himself into some trouble during that first round, but we're in round number 2. Space Station Gaming with the potential to grab another under their belt, but comeback mechanic is available to G2 if they want to amp up the volume. And there's actually a Dread Serpent right into the center of Space Station Gaming. Some vulnerability achieved, but making their way back into the fight, and it's actually Dosubs and bodies that drop to the floor.
Wow, incredible gameplay there as Inara was the first person to step on point. They had it at 33%, and then G2 says, hey, we need to get on point. And as soon as that call is made, the Dread Serpent comes out, and right after that channel, the Convergence pulls them all right back in. So really good control of the ultimates. 87% and counting, in the zone again is right here. Heat Haze has to be used, Drop Bodies has to come in, but how long can he stand?
Just gets to it so he can actually get an overtime set, but nonetheless, Dosubs actually with a little bit of follow-up, but everyone's just walking into their grave right now. Space Station Gaming didn't have to do anything in the end to really put that pressure to capture. Instead, they get it flat out.
You asked which G2 was going to show up. This is looking like what it was on Stone Keep in Map 4 yesterday for G2, where they completely fell apart in the spring finals. They need to find a way to get themselves back together, find a target. Finally, Evil Eye is able to find something with an impale right into Middo, and now it's just, where do you go from here? You have the numbers. You need to set up this defense aggressively, but can you do it? Again, FRZ God is doing such a good job of making sure nobody pushes forward.
And yes, there is a certain level of sustain from the opposite end of blue, but even bodies, after getting healed all and topped off, still just slashed in the face by Aries getting the last hit. They do get the trade, so at least it's a 1-for-1. But it's still pressure that's been consistently applied by Space Station Gaming.
And this is smart too. They're tactically falling back. You can see FRZ is right here with Inara on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, on the right, it was Middo and the Ceres. And they all say, hey, we're too far apart. Let's come back towards the center part of the map, regroup, get ourselves back as 5. Don't give up too much ground. This is brilliant. Now they can recommit. Inara's got a 15 streak because of smart calls like that.
Luckily for G2, Cuss has been able to keep his life on the line, but nonetheless not always having the reach. So another death onto Wardoom, and FRZ God, he is not letting off of that throttle, recognizing that G2 Esports are all clustering together as a team, waiting for their opportunity to march forward, and there's a Rachao in their face.
It's just, again, I'm just absolutely blown away by FRZ God right now with how he's playing. And look at this, another combination, Seismic Crash and Convergence. Bodies gets pulled in as well. Cutie able to finish off the low HP of Rachao, but it's not over yet. The Dread Serpent comes out as well. Can they hold on? There's just 2 players left alive for G2.
Oh, and I don't know if that's going to be enough. A nice heal onto the Shaolin, but he's just backing away for safety at this point in time. Mixow raining in some nice shots into Evil Eye, but he's down low on the ground, focusing down onto Aries. But Evil Eye picks up 1, Dosubs picks up 1, and the tide is finally starting to dwindle.
That was a really close call. The Immortal just barely kept 2 players alive, and fortunately, they were able to convert 1.5 really kills there as they had to force back Aries. That could have been bad. That was very close to a 4-0. If the damage does not get done during that Immortal, it could have been all over. They had Cuss still respawning, so they did not have any real support coming out to get him anywhere with that health pullback.
That's crazy to me that
Wow.
we're just in a situation where 4-0 was nearly possible from an international team onto G2. And it's actually counting down on the clock. FRZ God getting another couple kills to his name with this Drogos play that's been insane. And overtime is still going strong, but Warner falling into all of the problems right on top of the objective. Is anybody else there to stop it? I think
Wow.
not. Space Station Gaming with a victory in game number 1.
What year is it that G2, undefeated from the PPL, comes out to a Brazilian team that, previous to this LAN, has never won an international game, and now they're in a position to really show what their worth is. This is absolutely incredible.
You know, with Space Station Gaming, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. But on the side of G2, maybe we need to get a little
Collar's
something
getting a
going.
little tight.
But it's also crazy to look at these situations because anyone who's been following the G2 roster for a while knows they are solid players. They earned that undefeated record in the regular season. It wasn't something that was just handed to them. Yet they're here at the LAN and just faltering again and again. But we'll have to see what the desk has to say about it.
Wow. I mean, not exactly surprised, but we were talking about this is the best of 3. G2 need that momentum early. They can't be getting down on themselves. Not only did they lose, they lost 0-4.
The look on all their faces, the headset, like, I mean, Cuss immediately had his off. It's one of those things that the tone, just no sound. You don't even need it. You can feel the atmosphere of the room, kind of the tension coming into it. And it's just, it doesn't feel, you know, jovial the way that you've seen a lot of these teams when they win. It doesn't feel the way that you really need to feel when you have to come back. And while it's double elimination, it's not the end of the world for them. It's definitely not the showing you want.
Yeah, but it's also not something that I'm not super upset by. I think this Space Station team, first time Brazil's had their full roster, so all prior judgments are null and void, basically. This is the first time the Space Station team has been able to perform with each other after practicing for a long period of time, and this man in particular has been talked up a lot. FRC God, Burritos dubbed him the best blaster player out there. And I mean, he's really put up a great case for that as he goes on a 15-plus streak to end G2 in 4 quick points.
I mean, that was ridiculous. Like, I started out like I was like, well, Midow's playing this Cassie incredibly well. Reichao on that Inara was getting in the kills. Like, he was in the kill feed a lot. He was in their face a lot. Very aggressive. Obviously, FRZ got on the Drogos, making a lot of work. And then I noticed the fact that Ares is playing Khan. I want to say it's kind of comparable to where we've seen Phoenix in it, where it's very aggressive, and it's actually one of the things that is setting the groundwork, I think, for everybody else. He's getting in their face, trying to kind of distract them. Look at me, I'm this giant tank. You're going to kill me, no problem when you look at me, but you're not looking at Cassie, you're not looking at Drogos, and they're doing all the work.
Midtown's Cassie as well was something for me that was incredibly impactful in that game. A lot of times Cassie flies under the radar. She starts a lot of kills. She doesn't fly up in the kill feed too often. But I mean, Midtown, I'm pretty sure he's climbed to the top of the ranked leaderboards time and time again off the back of Cassie and, you know, queuing with other teammates and all that. But that Cassie performance was incredible. Drogos needs to be a big pick for G2. I think we see some big changes in this next game, and there's no reason not to. I mean, it's do or die.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is where you might be able to see Evil Eye kind of try to scoop up the Drogos before SSG can get it. Maybe try to ban out or grab the Cassie. Sniper's not going to be anywhere near as big, especially on Jaguar Falls. So G2 have a lot more to work with in terms of their bans. And going into it, they don't really need to focus. I don't think they could really focus the healers, because that was one of the things. Like, Saris was kind of a question mark, I want to say, going into that. And coming out of it, I think it was very solid for them. It looked really good. It definitely did the job. And there were a couple convergences in there that made the difference.
I'm not super in love with the Buck pick either, to be quite honest. I think, you know, with Jag Falls, it opens up maybe to see that that I Drop Bodies Androxus again that absolutely decimated people yesterday. But we'll have to see. We're heading into draft now for game number 2 in this best of 3. SSG lead G2 1-0. G2 undefeated in the North American PPL. However, Space Station Gaming, the first time they're here performing with their full experienced roster. And a lot of teams say they've never looked scarier, and they are absolutely a contender for this whole event.
Being able to come in, feeling strong. I mean, they've said already they've been scrimming Burrito, who were able to take Navi the distance during HRX. So being able to learn from each other, learn in your region, scrimming in North American teams as well. So you're getting that experience you need. SSG take it incredibly seriously, and their hard work showing off.
There it is. I like it. I like it. Evil Eye He needs to take over the game. His Sha Lin's great, but he always is able to absolutely slaughter his opponents on these blasters, Bomb King or Drogos. And that's another big conversation. FRZ guy, when he was on the Drogos, he looked absolutely unstoppable. However, Bomb King, this might be his best map. I absolutely love Bomb King on Jaguar Falls, and I absolutely love FRZ God on Bomb King.
And this is one of those maps, I mean, Drogos has a good time here. Bomb King, I think, has slightly better time overall. It kind of depends on the players and the play style.
Yeah.
But once you give them, you grab the Buck, which I think will be a little bit more effective on this map than we see in Frog Isle. It's a little bit more rough on Frog Isle just because it's so open for flanks to get around. Here, there's a lot of corners. Buck can jump around those, get on top of you, and kind of lock you down. So depending on where this goes, it's going to cause a little bit more trouble. Drogo's still, I think, the bigger threat in the air. But as it is right now, SSG is seeming a little bit more comfortable.
I think this might be the transition where we see the Pip come out for G2, and then even bodies could flex onto the Genos if they want to go that route as well. They both provide a lot of utility, and they're going to lock in the Genos, which is at least half of that equation here. This allows, I think, bodies to play maybe a Xin as well. It's a lot of flexibility left in the draft. G2, like we said, you don't really know who's playing what until you load into game, and they still have a lot of different ways they could take this.
And that is some of the glory, having a team that's flexible, that you can kind of dance around with your picks and bans, and especially because of that con pick, you open up that last pick to be the perfect counter. Whatever is going to fit your team the best, and whatever is going to help take down now the Inara, the Terminus, the Moldamba, all three of those, pretty much unkillable when you get the right combo.
So much healing, so much sustain, such a tanky lineup for Space Station Gaming. G2, I mean, hell, Death and Taxis Leon is not something I would take off the table. I think Pip could still be a way to go, especially with this Genos. You could run Catalyst, you could run Mega Potion. G2, we know they love this pick. It's going to be the Xin, which is another way. I think if they go Yomi or Guillotine here, Guillotine, man, it is looking juicier and juicier, just like almost a second Dragon Punch, if you will.
That's kind of the idea, I think, even getting like Pip in there. Like something that helps kill the tanks faster is just because they are going to stand always unless you take care of them.
Well, there it is, guys. It's time for game number 2. Let's get to it. Casters, take it away.
Well, it looks like Space Station Gaming have some tanks ready to spank, and then G2 attempting to counteract that a bit.
This is, I think Nick put it the best. This is a beefy lineup for SSG. And to be completely honest, as you look through it, they're all top-tier power picks, too. I mean, this is a scary lineup for SSG. And if you're relying just on the Xin to hit the guillotines, we've seen so many times where the spites just don't connect.
And maybe if you get lucky, you reposition in a way that allows you to just hit him in the back or something. But in the end, you really need those to be hitting, especially if you're running guillotine. And the whole purpose is to burn down these beefy units.
And on top of that, you have to find the right area to hit those spikes because you still can get focused out immediately after or just before it even connects with how much burst is in the lineup for Space Station. I mean, heck, the motto is the only direction is up. Why not put yourself in a spot to get yourself in potentially a 2-0 over G2? That would be insane.
And here we go. This could be the last game of the set if SSG end up closing it. And he is actually going with guillotine, so very clear focus on these frontliners, and even Bomb King has been noted as somebody that is a bit beefier compared to other damage dealers. So the fact that you're leaning so hard in that direction with the sustain on Mitao and stuff as well, this could be huge.
The other thing, too, is you look at the itemization quickly. The frontliners for Space Station pick up Rejuvenate. The frontliners for G2 do not. So trying to keep them healthy with just the Genos is going to be a tall task. And Rachao's moving right on just to get to the point. Nice wall as well. That blocks off G2 completely. Evil gets the first kill, but past that, what can they go? Middle's got an idea right in front of him as far as how he can get to the back line. Will he push and go forward, though?
Somehow there's been some survival from G2 Esports, though. It looked like Bodies was in a terrible situation and finally goes down to FRZ God. But nonetheless, that took a lot of time and effort from SSG. But they're still at 48% and climbing on the objective.
Oh, and somehow Warden coming back through that torch room side, able to find FRZ on that Bomb King. Duran looking to move forward as well. They have Dose-Ups again cornered. Finally, they take him down. He was stuck in the torch room corner for a long time, got out, stuck outside for a long time, and now Evil Eye, he's already hitting the gas. But 1:45 on the clock, and the first Dragon Punch comes out. That's a good way to start things up just in the nick of time. It stalls at 96% for Space Station.
Boom goes the dynamite, despite the Bomb King being on the opposite side. 96% for SSG. That had to be stopped, and using ultimates like that was the key in doing so. So G2 Esports for what feels like the first time, actually a little bit in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and as you take a look at the ultimate economy, the ults are actually further along for G2 than they are for Space Stations. When it comes to holding this point, they're going to have a through time in space and the spite as well. Do they even need it? Although right now it is going to be a tough situation for iDrop Bodies, but he does hit mid-0 in the comeback 180 spite.
Nice use of that spite. He knew his life depended on it. Ends up actually trading his life afterwards, but the King Bomb right into the center. Great use of the ability from Doseups to keep himself in this fight. Now gripping up, and that is one way to go ahead and keep your team in this. A Space Station Gaming attempt to keep themselves around this objective and actually get the capture.
Oh my goodness, Deeren. He looked like he was close enough, but again, the key was the fact that Maldama was hiding on the right-hand side from our perspective right now in that torch room, was throwing out gourds and heals to both Inara and Terminus. And again, when you don't have the damage of Drogos there, it's so hard to chew down those health pools.
That's bonkers, not to be confused with the player, but just straight up bonkers for Space Station Gaming to commit so hard to ensuring they actually get that capture. And from our angle, it looked like Evil Eye was keeping it going a little bit, but there's a double kill, there's a triple kill. G2 Esports not letting up.
Click, click, boom on the sticky bombs, able to find the double off of one detonation and then turning for the other. A great pincer maneuver because, again, you had Mido on the buck looking to capitalize by moving in. And this is great positioning as well. You can see the Freeze God is on the left-hand side just spamming, making sure they have this entire side to them, and finds a kill on the Cutie. This is so bad for G2.
No, there's no way that you should have been killed. You could have just juked to the other side, but at the same time, he didn't want to give up that positioning. So Evil Eye with the double kill, though. Bodies picks up one. A little bit of a slowdown on the payload push, but they're still over a minute.
That's just, again, even though that kill on the Cuss really didn't mean much in terms of getting the payload there, it's still, that's got to be frustrating for Cuss to sit here and just look at this Bomb King saying, team, please, somebody hit him, and he's out here for free, and finally, Evil Eye comes back to it, but you have to think that comms for G2 right now have to be feeling a little frantic.
Well, everyone's felt that before, where you're near your spawn doors and you're saying, guys, I can't leave. I'm locked in. Can somebody please come and actually give me the key so I can exit this building? And then no one does. Thanks, guys. Thanks. But there's the seismic crash and a through time in space. Aries with a double kill and actually coming back to life. G2 Esports 3 down. Make that 4. Genos the only one alive. But I don't think Cuss is going to be able to hold his own against SSG. Is that a kill? Yes, it is.
This is so bad. The stagger is huge right now for G2, and they have to get back to 30 seconds left. Doesn't make a difference. It's 2-0. But my goodness, Gabby, Space Station is playing so incredibly well. It was a seismic crash right as the reanimate came out that allowed Aries to get those 2 kills, but Freeze God the entire time is sitting and just flanking, using that Poppy Bomb aggressively. This is a totally different style of Paladins than we've seen from G2 in goodness, who knows how long.
And in all honesty, and granted, anything can happen. If you asked me before this set who I thought was going to win, I really didn't have much of an answer. It was dependent upon exactly the feelings of both teams. SSG with that surprise factor coming from an outside region. G2, how's their hunger going? But I didn't expect it to be like this. Even if it's in the favor of SSG, I in no way imagined it was going to be 6 points consecutive for them. And
now you look at the itemization. We're 5.5 minutes in, and there's already Rejuvenate 3 for Aries, level 2 for Inara. How are you going to stop that healing? Rachao's already started, and then the impasse wall. Can he stay alive? Not going to happen. Evil Eye finding a really big kill and moving forward into the backline, but he's got to be careful. He's very low in HP, fortunately able to thrust right back out.
Maybe can take advantage of this moment in time, but iDrop Bodies actually used his spite right there, and that's going to get the kill onto Aries. And just as one frontliner pops back up, the other goes down, and that affords you the use of this comeback mechanic to pass that 80.
And that's a brilliant use of those kind of instant delete ultimates. As we were talking and giving credit to Space Station for comboing the Wombo combos with the seismic crash, we see instances of it from G2, but hold the phone. Now, once again, you can see 4 members moving on the left-hand side of the map, and meanwhile, Inara is pushing right through to make sure nobody can leave. Freeze God picks up his second kill, and that's on to Doseups. Who can touch? It's 93% for G2, climbing above 66 now for Space Station.
Where are they? You see them scattered around the outsides of the capture, attempting to make their way in. It takes a billow just to do so, and an Immortal on the opposite end. So G2 Esports 97-99. That's overtime.
Oh, wow.
Mitao popping off, finds himself an Evil Eye, hits him in the eye, turns around to find the rest, and there's a Dread Serpent from SSG as well, keeping the fight going. But oh no, Khan, Dosas falls to the wayside. It's 2 for 2. Overtime. What's happening?
The mini stun came out of Deeren as well right there. The through time and space will just be jumped over by Mido, looking for the return on the dry drop bodies. Will do it, and overtime will fade away. We're looking at a 3-0 for Space Station Gaming.
What is happening?
What is life?
I don't understand. But also, because if you look at the early portion of that fight, when the two frontliners did go down, it took 2 ultimates. It took a Dragon Punch and a Spike to do so. So as soon as those resources are completely used, then what are you going to do the next time you're trying to take them down?
You have to rely on the Immortal to keep everybody alive so you can just get the damage output, but it has to be popped just to keep Fernando alive so he can contest. And now Mido, he's got this entire left side for free. He can see the Genos. Will he jump in onto this? That's the real question. He's got the opportunity right in front. He will just back up, wait for the rest of his team, but still 1 minute and 50 seconds. The payload's still steadily moving uphill.
Oh, everybody's spread on opposite ends, and Mido's just like, turn around. I got a shotgun waiting to hit you in the face. Has been the story of his life on this push.
Goodness gracious. And it's just, this balance between FRZ God and Mido has been so interesting to see. It kind of takes me back to Valencia, where China was running the double flank pressure with one would go in, he would come back, the other would go in. And that's what we're seeing here from Space Station, just so much aggression. And now this is a good spot for Evil Eye. He needs to make sure he holds down this right side completely, but he's also got to not hit the environment and make sure those fire spits get detonated if he wants to have a chance. He's already got the Dragon Punch up, so he can really make this defense pretty stalwart here.
A bit over a minute to go. And almost all ultimates, and there's actually the Buck Wild on the side of Space Station Gaming, manages to get a kill onto Wardoom, and there's a reanimate from Ares,
Wow.
brings himself back to life. Evil Eye picks one up on the enemy damage, though.
That's actually a really big shot just to correctively turn and make sure you hit the Void Grip target. Big for Evil Eye. Now, where do you go from here? Through time and space, we'll create a little bit of that space on the right-hand side, but look who's pushing forward. It's Ares. He's finds himself one. He does get Void Gripped up again. Deeren right in his face as I drop Paladins. Can he find the damage? The Billow will keep him alive narrowly for now, but look at these mid-air heals. The Dragon Punch comes in, does find Rachel, so again, no frontliners here for Space Station. This defense is looking good.
But still, crazy execution in those moments. You gotta give it to Deeren for his use of the Dread Serpent for single isolation. I drop bodies with the double kill right there because he was able to survive. And even though he got out with the Billow, I think the play was right.
Absolutely, and if he doesn't get out there, we're looking at a totally different situation, because in that instance, that's what you want to see from my drop bodies, is the kill confirmation. So the fact that he's able to get back to full, chase down those last 2 kills is what very well could make sure that they get their first point. And again, we're 9.5 minutes in. We're talking about G2 getting their first point, not of the game, but of the set.
That's just absolutely insane. I can't say that's insane enough, just because I don't know if anyone was really expecting this. And you still have those moments that have the twinkle of the G2 we know and love. The eye drop bodies with the double kill, some prime targets of their ultimates, but it's not collectively resulting in a lot of objective security.
It's just at no point today, or even really yesterday, have I seen the same just visible energy from G2. They typically are not the team necessarily to pop off when they get these big wins, but you can see them kind of, getting a little flex into what they're doing body language wise. And today's just been kind of,
right,
doing the stuff.
It's almost what we expect them to be like after a loss is kind of been a trickle of how they felt all day even before the game.
Yeah.
Which usually you have that very stark difference before and after, but a little bit mellow.
There you go.
There's a nice
Later.
grip. That's a one way to start off this round. I dig it. I dig it.
But still, we lost both damage dealers now for G2, so how do you sustain this if you're trying to move your way forward? And again, Cutie goes down, so FreezeGod is moving his way right on in. Double kill for him as he finds dose-ups. There's no reason at that point that G2 should have been in a bad spot. Inara was gone. Just stay alive, keep your numbers. Not the case as SSG continues to move forward and finds the both damage dealers. And now again, 75% and counting.
How is G2 going to find some sort of recovery? Eyedrop Body stayed on his mount for a very long time before circling around around to get the kill onto Dyron, steps onto the point, gets
big
another
plays.
secure one with his spite onto mid-tower, but that's 81% for Spacestation Gaming that you have to counteract, and FRZ God, he's there to do that. Cuts Cutie picking one up with a through time and space.
Now, but here's the thing. G2 needs to get aggressive. They need to take map control back. Pick a side. If it's going to be holding the fall side, do it. If it's going to be holding this torch side, do it. They're kind of just, again, look how passive this. Evil, what are you going to shoot from here? You need to get up, at least find some area to thrust so you can at least get some kind of damage done. Fortunately, the capture boost is enough before anyone could come in, and then the Dragon Punch also to secure it. But those little moments, if it was 3-3, that's an opportunity for SSG to move back through.
So perhaps indecisiveness is one of the words for G2 Esports, and the way that they're positioning, the way that they're playing, and 3 seconds here, 8 seconds there, that really adds up to a lot of just the time economy you're not utilizing.
That's a really good way of putting it, and someone's got to make that call, or someone's got to feel comfortable enough to start playing how they normally play. This is, again, watching them online is just very different than what we're seeing here. Really good salvo there to make sure Nara goes down. The windup coming out as Buck Wild comes through. Also, the King Bomb looking for the left-hand side will find eye drop bodies, but G2 still has a good amount of front line here to hold this payload moving forward.
I do like the collab so far. It was the 1-for-1 trade, and when you're on the defense, you do get your members back a bit quicker, though. Once you're past kind of that 70% mark, and I don't know if that's going to put SSG in a position where they can go ahead and hold this defense for a minute and a half. But G2 Esports, they just lose more and more each time. Aries with the double kill.
Wow, it's just incredible to see the movement coming out of Terminus and the support. That time through, it was literally, Aries was playing the fullback, creating space, and Freeze Guy was just running right behind him the whole way, tossing out sticky bombs left, right, and center. And that was enough to get all the damage done that they needed. You could see the net worth chart, and that's incredible to see. Is it's not just the Bomb King there, but it's also Deering getting involved. He's second on the list as far as his total value, and that's really big. When your support can be up there and has credits to spend, it's going to be really good to keep that front line, again, continually moving forward.
We're in the last minute of this potential push, and if G2 Esports can get this, go ahead and tie it up 3-3, but Spacestation Gaming, they still pick up a couple, and every time G2 is just funneling in one by one, they're just cutting them off at the seams.
I mean, to be completely honest, though, I mean, you're looking at the mobility here from this Bomb King. He's moving from the right side of the map all the way to the left in an instant. He's going to be really hard to track, especially for Evil Eye, who's got the best vantage point usually for his team. When they're moving that quickly left to right, it's really difficult to really lock them down and to hit these big skill shots. The salvo does come through, but again, you see, he's able to dodge it away very nicely. It's this really good IQ play here from the Bomb King.
I also enjoy the way Rashao is using these walls and the impasse to block off any G2 Esports access and keep his members safe. But here we are, final countdown, 5 seconds to go. Evil Eye attempting to circle on through and gets a couple shots, but he's actually low on HP, but luckily gets healed up by Cuss.
And again, overtime, in effect, it is starting to dwindle away a little bit. Nice impasse wall that kind of blocks some space. Again, as you mentioned, Rachao's been doing so good with that, but still, eye drop body's in a little bit of trouble here as, again, Bomb King's able to find one kill. Can Evil Eye convert possibly another? They need to find another big kill if they want to have a chance at pushing this, but the numbers are dwindling very quickly.
No, Rashao with the double kill. G2 Esports, they have nothing left in the tank. So that's going to be a defense for SSG. They cannot actually win on a defensive point, so it's still going to remain 3-2 going into the next capture.
This next capture is really big. I mean, at this point in time, G2, I think you have to make a call. What side are we committing to and just overhaul it? Just put all 5 players down one alley and see what happens. Again, you have to be careful of the Bomb King in those situations, but if you can come up with a big opening kill, keep that 5-on-4 and keep your numbers together, they could overhaul a point just by mobbing it. It just comes down to, will they have the discipline to do it, or can they find the poke? It's kind of a battle between two evils at the moment.
I love the fact that they are leaning so heavy into that beefiness with their comp as well. You take a look at the loadout for FRZ God, increasing that health and actually having his own personal sustain. And when you are detonating at the level that you are, that heal is coming to you regularly.
It looks like off the bat it will be another overpowered coming out for Dozups, who would just hold Rachao in place. So there's that opening kill. Now where do you go from here if you're G2? Get on the point early, try to find one more pick. You can see FRZ God is wholly shutting down what is the right side for G2, so go up the middle, find some way to get it one more pick, because keeping them here, this is such a good position for Deer, and he's able to keep everybody alive while they're still able to poke at the point.
Actually about to pass 60% onto the objective for G2 Esports, though. SSG waiting for their opening King Bomb may be the way to do so. Also with the Ares ultimate coming on through by Drop Bodies, he repositions himself, gets the kill, gets another kill, and that's one way to go ahead and get some security for your team, but the Buckwild to try and answer.
Oh, and Middle is able to find himself two. Actually make that potentially a third as he's got one down low in front of him, but no, Wardoom able to put the shield back up, get some help from his other frontliner. And this is going to be an interesting battle here. Commander grab up and over, but surviving. Again, that health pool is so huge for Bomb King.
It was just enough time, too, until the rest of SSG could make their way to the objective. So that 99% going to have to stop for the time being. As it begins to climb for SSG, Rashao picks one up onto Doseups, though, and Ares is getting aggressive.
And there's no ultimates really even close for either team, so it comes down to who can frag who more, just at the raw skill. And at the moment, Spacestation has looked better when it comes to point control because of the zoning that FRZ God's able to provide. Ares falling very low, though. Again, no reanimate. He does drop, but so does Wardoom.
Oh no, this is passing 90% for SSG, and there's a King Bomb wanting that security, sees if he can find himself with that security, and he does. Overtime still going, though, as the frontliners from G2 try to hold it off strong, but SSG with the victory, and the 2-0 against G2 Esports.
I am jaw-dropped right now. This is not just a Cinderella story in the making. This is just really good mechanical Paladins coming out of Brazil. Holy smokes, I never thought that we would see such growth in just such a short amount of time between when we saw them at World Championships, but that was impressive.
And now G2 Esports, they're going to find themselves in the lower bracket where, yes, they have the opportunity to climb back towards the end, but still seeing the way that they're performing here, and maybe they can get some victories over a couple of the teams. Once they fight against some of the same teams from prior, I don't know if they can overcome.
You know, and again, just to kind of finalize thoughts on G2, that was not a poor showing by any stretch of the imagination. There were some things that you could still see were lingering from possibly yesterday, but that was better than when they looked against Fnatic just as a whole squad. The fact of the matter was, Spacestation was combining ultimates. There was actually one moment in there where Ares actually committed suicide before the King Bomb came off so he could get the stun plus the reanimate. That's just next level ultimate utilization. It's incredible.
Where do we go from here, G2? Follow the tracks, my tears. But I think it's only happy tears on the side of SSG after that set. So let's throw it over to the desk to close it.
I got to just kind of mirror what Alan said. I definitely agree. I think Spacestation played phenomenally. And again, they're being talked about as a favorite for this event. So G2, it's not an easy matchup for them. I think they played very well, but it came down to like superstar level performances from MidTow and FRZ.
I mean, it kind of comes through. Like, there's been whispers of SSG being like, they're a threat, they're a threat. Now it's screams coming from SSG. You should be worried about us right now. There is not much you can do. I mean, G2
that was
at
close.
best there. I mean,
close game.
It was really, really solid from them. They looked really good.
That was a close game.
But again, SSG just took it away.
It's that one moment you and I were kind of sitting here, no way, he's not going to bring this one back because G2 came out, they had such a lethal suite of ultimates. They get the kill on the overpower, they get a free Dragon Punch, then they get another free kill from Guillotine. We're like, all right, that's probably nipped and tucked for G2. And then that's that moment where MidTow was able to get in on Buck, and we're like, he kills one, and he kills another, and then he barely gets out, and then FRZ God comes in. We're like, oh my, I can't believe they were able to bring this one back. It was a really superstar level performance. And FRZ got, again, incredible on the Bomb King.
And it's just one of those things, I mean, seeing him bounce again from Jogos to Bomb King, the way he's been playing, and like, I think you had said it earlier where it's just like, you don't notice him, and then he's in your face and he's killing you. Like, it's just all of a sudden he is there and he's taking you down.
Yeah, that's the way Burrito described him. They said you won't see him. He won't reveal himself on the map until he knows he is going to kill you. And then it plays into your mentality because he's like, oh my god, I see him. It's like seeing Mutu, right? Seeing him in the mirror.
Just a scanner slowly locking in. Kind of like, you know, the cinematic trailers, that kinesioscope. It just, oh, there's where I need to go. That's where the kill's going to be. I'm going to find myself there.
It's really crazy, man. I think they had a great performance today. I think they're an incredible team, and I think, you know, the rumors are true. It's written in stone at this point. They have to be one of the contenders for this whole event.
And I feel like, you know, I mean, now going into it, looking at the way things are going to start going tomorrow and onward, you're looking at potential teams like Burrito, G2, that have to fight from the bottom. They're on their way to elimination. Whereas you have Spacestation, who are looking at the point where they could potentially grind all the way up to the top without taking a single loss if they can continue playing like this.
And they don't have Spacestation don't have any mentality to sleep on anyone.
Oh,
They recognize that they are the underdogs with probably one of the best chances to win this whole thing. That win over G2, it's a great one. It's a best of 3. They got it done quickly. It's going to be amazing for morale as well. G2, they now have to bounce back. But again, I want to stress, it's like, I'm not super upset with the way I played that set if I'm G2. We saw the stats, how close that final game was. It's really just one of those days, I think, for Spacestation. And we got the boys over. We're going to have a quick interview with our victors.
Well, of course, congratulations for that tremendous victory against G2. And it seemed like there was such coordination coming through all of you. So were comms just really fluid?
Yeah. It's something that we are working on for a while. When I got in the team, it was really confused for all of us. It was sometimes someone of you youth and didn't warning or the rest of the team. But since we came here, I don't know, the vibe is different. I think everyone's confident, everyone won this, and in the game just got clean. I don't know how to explain it, just got clean. What's amazing.
You know, you guys have come a long way, and I remember back in the Key to Victory days when Aries was beating, you guys, and you said, let's combine. Let's take the best of the best in Brazil and go and try and show up. You guys have finally gotten not your first international win today, but your second against the best team in North America. Why do you think you are able to do that this tournament?
Actually, he was with me on Key to Victory.
Right. Yeah,
and
we
the
played
was
together for a year now.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of experience. I mean, the more time you have together, the more you're gonna learn. You're gonna know what he will think, because I'm already playing with him for a year, and the others. I mean, it's all about experience, On the last LAN, we were kind of good, but not enough, and now we are feeling great. We are training, getting better, and Kami.
I'm sure you went into that set wanting the victory, of course, but then it happening in the fashion that it did, starting off with a 4-0. How did that momentum right there in the beginning affect you emotionally for the rest of the set?
I don't know. I was shaking, actually, in I still am. But when we got the first point, I felt the same feeling that I did when we got the first point against Fnatic in EGX. It was something that I wasn't expecting. I don't know. I always saw the Europe teams, North American teams, so much better than Brazil, because when I used to watch the tournaments when I was at home, seeing my friends playing here, I just thought like they are so good, And when we got this point, I don't know, I knew that's gonna be right, and we just calm down, wait for a moment, take a breath, and go. It's just that.
Latin America had their coming out party with Nocturnes at HRX. You guys kind of got there, but were the sideshow at that event. And now, Brazil is here. They're here to stay. How much does it mean for you guys to pioneer kind of Brazilian esports for Paladins specifically, and be the ones who are saying we are a region to be worried about and to be dealt with seriously?
Actually, we needed to be like that, because Brazil is a great community. It's a big community. We have a lot of people supporting us. And we need to give them our best, They need to know there's a team here who can take the victory for them, So, yeah, it's awesome, and yeah.
Also, has a part of the Brazilian community that doesn't believe that has a competitive team in Paladins.
Yeah.
They think these Paladins are for fun, and we played this game. I am playing this game a year now. And it's not just for fun. We came here to take it this tournament. We came here with the anger to take it, and they need to know that. Everyone needs.
Well, last thing from me here, because we're talking about the Brazilian community behind you, I want to give you the opportunity to say in Portuguese, your native language, whatever you want to that community.
Falar para vocês que na última vez vocês não acreditaram muito na gente, mas a gente está aí jogando para vocês mais uma vez, mesmo assim depois de todos os reis que a gente recebeu, mas estamos aí, continua assistindo a gente está chegando bem, está chegando grande, e é isso. Mãe, beijo, te amo, pai, te amo.
O que eu quero dizer não é nada diferente do que ele disse, mas Eu só quero que a comunidade de Paladins entenda que a gente está querendo representar o Brasil da melhor forma possível e que todos vocês que queiram ser profissionais de um jogo um dia se esforcem. O Paladins está aí para isso, não só o Paladins como qualquer outro jogo. E para você querer ter isso, você tem que acreditar nesse cenário. E quem não quer isso, torça pelas pessoas que queiram, porque é muito importante esse suporte fora que todos dão.
Well, thank you to both of you. Can't wait
Thanks
to
so
see what
much.
happens tomorrow.
Me too.
I tell you what, man, I'm getting a little scared of that team. If I'm some of these other teams at this event, they are a team with everything to prove, nothing to lose. They're humble. They want this victory, I think, just about as bad as everyone else.
I just love the way they worded it, because it was just, they're happy, they're jovial, but at the same time you could kind of hear where he's just like, we have the anger that we want to win, was the way he worded it. Like, they have that drive built into them. Like, they're not here to play around. They're here to win. Whether or not they actually get the win, to them, it's better. The further they make it, the happier they're going to be about it. But if they got first rounded, they'd still be just as fine with it. They are in that position, like you said, ready to win, but they're okay to lose.
Well, everyone's here for the win, guys. Let's take a look at the bracket after day number 1. We've got a lot of action and a long way to go to the championship. As you can see, Fnatic and Envy will be moving on. Spacestation and Na'Vi. And now when you look at this, we've had a good couple of lands here. It feels like, Envy's beat Fnatic, who's beat G2, who's beat Na'Vi, who's beat Burrito, and everyone else has flip-flopped at one point. Now Spacestation are in that conversation. This could easily turn out to be one of the most competitive events that we have ever had. But no one has gone home today. Here's a quick look at the losers bracket that will also be playing out tomorrow. These are the elimination matches. These are the ones that are going to send people home. So Chroma Space, Kanga Esports, Burrito, and the Gankstars all have their backs against the wall. Those are must-win games for them. As you can see, those are best of 3. We will progress into the best of 5s as we get later in this tournament, the semifinals for both the losers and the winners bracket. But this is not the biggest event of our year. Everyone wants that world championship, the 2-time back-to-back. Spunky's the only one with that title here. It's going to be amazing this year. We're partnering up with DreamHack in Atlanta, downtown, with some Smite action there as well. Paladins Console Wars will be there, the Console World Championship. It's going to be a lot of fun. The tickets are on sale now. The dates were on your screen. What an incredible day. Gore, any closing thoughts for us?
I'm just really excited. I feel like the international scene in Paladins is probably one of the most competitive in esports, so being able to see it, we have a Brazilian team in the semifinals for the winners bracket, and I don't think you could say something like that in a lot of other esports.
Couldn't have said it better myself, guys. It's been a blast today, but it's only getting better from here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much to production, the admin team, the casters, everyone that's helping make this event as great as it is. We will see you all same time, same place tomorrow.